everyone, and welcome to the Political Job Interview, where I interview candidates running for election. I'm Vincenzo Calla, the host, and today I take on the role as the boss, giving a job interview to today's candidate, Stuart MacKay. Stuart is running for election for Ottawa City Council as a candidate for Ward 14, Somerset. Thank you, Stuart, for your time, and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you, and let's get this job interview started. As with any good job interview, I'm going to start off with an opportunity to learn more about you. So, first one, tell me a little bit about yourself and your story.
Well, I've been a resident of Somerset Ward for the past 10 years. I grew up here in Ottawa. Obviously, after high school, I ended up going to um, York University in Toronto, where I lived in Toronto for about 5 to 6 years. I actually lived in Sydney, Australia for a bit. Went down there for a year. And then I moved back here, started grad school at Carleton, where I did my MA and PhD at the history department at Carleton University. And when I moved back here, I moved into Somerset Ward. So I love this ward. It's fantastic. There's there's a real community atmosphere in this ward here. And I'm very much looking forward to, if I have the honor of being elected, to represent it.
So, that's a great story, and I wanted to know why. Why have you decided to run for this position? Why council and why now?
Well, there's sort of two different organizations that I've worked with over the past couple of years. The first one was the Centertown Citizens Community Association, or the Centertown Community Association. And I joined them in 2019. And basically, the community association does things like it works with the planning committee whenever there's sort of a community consultation on a new building. There's also a heritage element. And I really wanted to get to know the community a bit better. And so I joined the board of directors in 2019, and I had the privilege to serve as the membership secretary. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to do a bit more outreach with the community association. When I joined, we had about 50 people, and we eventually got that up to about 300 members of the community association. And of course, we did a bunch of this through COVID, where we weren't allowed to meet in person. We weren't allowed to do these large scale meetings, which community associations usually do. And so there was we had to make a real effort to do outreach in the community. And I'm really proud of some of the work that we did. We developed this thing called the Centertown Support Network, which was essentially just a support network during COVID. That so if seniors or anybody with mobility issues or anybody in general sort of needed somebody to go pick up groceries or pick up supplies or even just have a chat during that first year of COVID, where everybody was sort of in their homes, nobody was going anywhere. The association put this together. We had a good group of volunteers, people who were going out, delivering groceries, delivering supplies, prescription drugs to folks who felt who were concerned about being exposed to COVID. And so it was just a really incredible opportunity to sort of see the community come together. We also have started to do more engagement in terms of putting on festivals. And sort of these festivals in Dundonald Park, a fall festival, where it's just a really good opportunity for the community to come together, learn a bit about the organizations in their neighborhood, talk about community issues. And one of the things that I'm really proud of with the Centertown Community Association is we helped to develop this thing called the Elgin Street Market. And it's kind of the first time that we've ever partnered with a vendor, Ottawa Street Markets, because we had this space on Elgin and Waverley, which was kind of an underused space. It's called Boucher Square. It's right near Jack Patel, but it's nobody was really using it. We decided, well, why not have a little farmers market there during the course of the year? So we ended up partnering with Ottawa Street Markets. We put on this market last year. It was a great success. It's still running. You can go there every Sunday morning from 9 to 1. Get your fruits and veggies, tons of local vendors and stuff. But it was such a great opportunity to sort of re-engage with the community and talk with people. And I'm really proud of setting that up. The other organization that I'm also proud of is Ottawa Transit Riders. Now, we formed this group in 2019 because we felt that riders didn't have a voice around the council table, that decisions about public transit were being made and riders' input wasn't being listened to. So we formed this group in 2019 because of bad bus service. And then, of course, the LRT happened and all the issues. And then, of course, COVID happened. And now we're back to buses. But essentially, this organization, we want to fight for more affordable, reliable, and accessible public transit for everybody. And we've had some successes. We fought against a fare increase in 2020. We've helped to get online booking for paratranspo and help make paratranspo a bit more equitable with transit in Ottawa. But with the CCA and with Ottawa Transit Riders, there's only so much advocacy you can do. And I decided that it was time to put my name on a ballot to actually get around the council table, to have my voice heard in those decisions. So I think I bring a real community, a sense of community, and also an expertise in public transit to this job, and that's why I'm running.
Let's talk about this job that you're running for Somerset Councillor. And first off, I want to ask, what experience do you bring to this job? Especially, what experience do you have that you find important that you are bringing to this job as a candidate?
Well, I think I've kind of had an unorthodox job history. So, as I mentioned, I did a PhD at Carleton University in history. So I have that sort of research, that academic background, which allows me to really delve deep into issues, to really learn more about issues, and sort of listen to experts in all other fields and to understand what the issues are. But I've also worked in the private sector as well. I currently work for a company called SI Systems. It's Canada's largest IT staffing company. And I do a lot with government proposals, reading requests for proposals, understanding how the procurement process works. And so I understand how the private sector works as well. And as I mentioned, I have that advocacy background with the Centertown Community Association, with Ottawa Transit Riders. So I feel like I bring various tools from academia, from the private sector, from advocacy. And one of my strengths is I'm very good at collaborating. I'm good at working with people. And I think especially for this council, one of the things that's frustrated me over the past couple of years has been the regional divisions on city council, urban councillors pitted against suburban councillors, against rural councillors. And I understand that not everybody's going to agree all the time. That's not the nature of democracy. We need to have a full and fulsome debate about the issues itself. But at the end of the day, we're all residents of Ottawa. We all need to work together. And so I think one of my strengths is listening to people, even if I don't completely agree with everything that they say, is finding that common ground, finding that area of collaboration and listening. And I think that that's something that this last city council didn't do very well. But this next city council is going to have to, so that we can deal with the issues of housing, so that we can deal with the issues of homelessness, of drug use, of public transit, all throughout the city. We're going to need collaborators. We're going to need people who can work across the aisle. And I think that's one of my skill sets.
So I wanted to continue on that point now. In Somerset Ward, I believe there's three candidates, and three candidates of very different backgrounds. And I wanted to ask you, what sets you apart from them? What sets you apart from the other candidates who are running for council? And what makes you stick out really as a candidate?
Well, I think two things. One, my community involvement, especially with the CCA. I dealt quite a bit with issues of heritage and planning, and planning issues are always going to be one of the main things that councillors do in terms of looking at new developments, trying to make sure the developments fit into the context of the ward, into the context of the community. So I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with going through these consultations, with going through these proposals from developers. And I know a sense of what the community kind of wants in terms of intensification. And I think that that's one of the skill sets. The other thing, too, is that, as I mentioned, I've been working in public transit advocacy for the past 3 years and have been very deeply involved. And the city of Ottawa is going to be dealing with public transit issues for the next 4 years. We're going to have to make our bus service more reliable, more frequent. Stage 2 is going to be coming online. So we're going to have to ask questions about stage 2 as well. And having somebody who has that public transit background, that experience, who's ready on day one to go to the table and ask the tough questions to OC Transpo, to ask them about route scheduling, to ask them about maintenance, to ask RTG and RTM when they come to the table and ask them about stage 2 of the LRT. somebody who has that background, somebody knows what the issues have been over the past 4 years. I think that's going to be really beneficial for Somerset Ward as somebody who's ready on day one, and has a solid public transit background.
Part of serving as an elected official is serving those people who elect you, the people who choose you. So a few questions now about how Stuart wants to serve the people. So the first one is, what is something that the people of Somerset Ward need that you want to get done for them if you become elected?
Well, one of the biggest things that I'm hearing about at the doors, and one thing that I put in my platform, is the state of our civic infrastructure. If you wander down the streets of Somerset Ward, you can see their sidewalks are not in good condition. And one of the reasons why I got into this race is because I have a lot of friends who use mobility devices. They use power wheelchairs, they use walkers, and they've been constantly telling me over the past couple of years that the state of the sidewalks is so bad. Sometimes they leave their apartment building and they can't even go down the sidewalk. Actually have to go out on the street, which is dangerously unsafe because their chair will get stuck or their walker will get stuck or they're fearful of tripping. So the city's actually doing a survey of all the sidewalks in the entire city. It's all going to be geomapped, so we'll be able to sort of see the conditions and what's been repaired and what hasn't been, what needs priorities. And that's one of the things that I really want to do is we need to prioritize that sidewalk repair, especially here in Somerset Ward. We're a walkable community. We want to create a 50-minute community where people walk to go to work, to get their groceries, to go to medical appointments. And we need to make sure that the sidewalks are safe. And so that is going to be one of my key priorities is just repairing that civic infrastructure that unfortunately is in very bad condition here in Somerset Ward.
Well, definitely, and it's a Somerset Ward issue, and it extends beyond that. It's a citywide issue. I mean, right now at the time of this filming, it just stopped raining. I live in Barhaven, and I can guarantee you, as I walk up the street down to a main road near my house, there's a big puddle in the sidewalk because the sidewalk has sunk so low that it's on level with the street or lower, and there's big puddles, and it is unsafe. They are all cracked, the roads are bad, and especially in a mostly urban area such as Somerset Ward that has a big portion of downtown and has those 15-minute communities that you're talking about, and if they don't are having to aim for those in the planning of the city as we go forward, that infrastructure needs to be upgraded. The roads, the sidewalks, the bike paths, the bus lanes, everything needs to be put together to be perfect for the people to use. And finally, I wanted to go into the last question now, which is, what's one accomplishment that you've achieved that demonstrates why you'll be a good elected official if the people were to choose you?
I think that one of the proudest things that I've done is really worked and first of all, one of the things that I've really learned from many of my colleagues on Ottawa Transit riders is just the sorry state of paratranspo. And I know that they've been pushing for years to get a more reactive service, to get a better service. And we've been pushing city council to get online booking. And for those of us who don't use paratranspo, it's a little hard to understand how frustrating it was beforehand. To phone, you couldn't really plan. You had to plan ahead if you want to get out anywhere in the city. And so by working with para-parity advocates on council, people like John Riddens, people like Sally Thomas, pushing that online booking, I think we made life a bit easier for folks who use paratranspo. There's so much more work to do, but I'm proud that we pushed that issue because oftentimes paratranspo issues were put on the back burner with the city council because we were concerned with things like the LRT, we were concerned with things like buses, and paratranspo got knocked down the ladder a little bit. So, these are the sort of things we always need to remember about. We always need to think about what are we doing for our most marginalized people in the ward and in the city itself. And it's something that that I want to bring to the council table is that understanding is that if the city isn't working for everybody, then the city isn't working. And so bringing that expertise and bringing those ideas, I think, is going to be really key because we do have several issues. We do have a lot of issues in Somerset Ward, but they're issues that we can tackle together as a community. And I'm looking forward to doing that.
So thank you, Stuart, so much for joining me today. It was great having you, and I'm sure the viewers have really enjoyed hearing what you have to offer to them. Election day is October 24th, 2022, and if you liked hearing what Stuart MacKay had to say and live in Ward 14, Somerset, you have the opportunity to vote for him on election day. Check with the local election officials for more details. To stay updated, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at VC Productions25. Check out my website, VincenzoCalla.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, and choose to get notifications here on YouTube. The Political Job Interview is a VCalla production. So until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Calla, signing out.